First, live, local. This is First Alert Weather Extra.
It is 7 p.m. It's a Tuesday night. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelsen here at KPTV, and that must mean that we are in First Alert Weather Extra, and sure enough, we are. Your more expanded look at weather information all around the Pacific Northwest coming here from the Fox 12 studios. Payton Major, our meteorologist, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. We're going to cover some weather today. We're trying to find interesting things because, let's be honest, it's kind of boring, right?
Yeah, we're digging up stats just to, create some time here, but that's okay.
Digging up the stats. But we do have a general feeling of what we are seeing as we head towards Thanksgiving, which is, kind of a big deal now. So, we may not be able to give you exact numbers. We don't know if it's going to rain on Thanksgiving Day yet, but we have a general idea of what we're going to see. So we're going to hop into that. So we'll cover, we're going to head towards the weekend. We know that weather-wise. And then Peyton's going to talk about Cascade snowfall. You'll be amazed at how much snow there was 1 year ago today. You are talking about that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And cold nights and frost. Peyton's going to talk about that again. And, of course, we'll cover in detail what we are seeing for next week. So here's our 7-day forecast right now. A little quiet. So low 50s each day, maybe mid-50s. Saturday might be a warmest day. Either way, each day we top out between 50 and 55. And then each night, upper 30s to low to mid-40s. As for weather, notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 days out of 7 that are either dry or likely dry. That's drier than normal for November. Tomorrow we've got the easterly wind forecast. The east wind will be blowing out of the gorge tomorrow. It won't pick up till about daybreak. It's not going to be too strong. We'll go level 2, tipped over for the trash cans, only if you're out in those areas, East Multnomah County areas. Gust 20 to 30. That's out in the East Metro. And then we've got these showers coming in tomorrow night and then into Thursday morning. Here's the forecast rainfall. Notice at 10 p.m. tomorrow night, we're still dry here in the metro. So tomorrow's going to be a dry day, but then the rain comes in coming up tomorrow night, and maybe 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch. This is, let's see, yeah, it's 7 o'clock. So this is our latest evening model, the evening model here. So, yeah, not that much rain, and most of it's going to be done by the time we wake up on Thursday, thus the AM shower, then dry. It's possible, if you're like me, you don't get up till 8 because you work the late shift, just a dry day. Friday looks dry as well. Saturday, we should point out, we've got a big game down there at Eugene. It's game day, too. The Ducks are hosting the USC Trojans, and the weather looks totally uneventful. Now, here in Portland, we're going 55 and partly cloudy. We may be under either an inversion, well, a little bit, yeah, there could be an inversion that day where it's low clouds at Eugene or spots of fog. So I'm just going to go dry, calm, cool, 40s. Okay, maybe it gets to the low 50s. Kickoff is at midday, but the game, it's uneventful. It's just cool. Weather coming up down there. No real weather happening. All right, this is interesting because I'm going to cover up the last 2 days. I think I've done it well. And you can see if this just each bar is the day here in Portland, the low and the high temperature. Look how from about Halloween till 2 or 3 days ago, the low temperatures were actually getting warmer. Kind of weird for November. It should be getting cooler. You can see on average the low temperature goes like this, goes downhill. Finally, we've had 2 chilly nights. So that was kind of a return to normalcy finally after a while. And the daytime high temperatures, today's 50 was the coolest so far this season. So what's next? Yeah, we got that chilly night tonight, spots of frost and fog. Peyton will cover that in a bit more detail. We got the dry day tomorrow, the gusty east wind. I think I covered all this. I think I had these graphics out of order. Light rain coming up tomorrow night. Yeah, we covered all that. So let's move on. The problem is we're not getting big weather systems because some of the action has been going into California. There's a bit of a split in the jet stream. This one looks pretty strong. Lots of nice dynamics, area of low pressure out there. But again, this one's going to pull apart, and that's why we get not so much rain coming up for tomorrow evening. I showed you the rain accumulation. But you can see tomorrow morning, definitely a signature of low clouds and fog in spots in the valley. You could have spots of dense fog for the morning commute. And you can see the timing of the rain. And we get into Thursday. Look how Thursday morning it's gone. And Thursday afternoon could be partly cloudy. All right, so we covered the rain there. So around the viewing area tomorrow, that's the one place where we'll see rain probably before sunset tomorrow. The coastline, especially the central coastline. Lincoln City, Newport, I think you're wet by 4 p.m. Partly cloudy, some evening rain, light easterly breezes. Here in the valleys tomorrow, uneventful weather, slightly warmer than today. I'm calling it mainly sunny. There'll be fog and then thin high clouds. I think it'll be cloudy by sunset, though. Low 50s, so a little warmer than today. In the gorge, you'll have an easterly wind. That's the only place that's windy tomorrow. Gusts to 45 in the usual spots at the west end. Not too crazy. That stronger wind, I'm sure, is coming up here the next few weeks. Mainly sunny and warmer on Mount Hood, 46 at Government Camp. And then the 7-day rain forecast, this is for the metro area. Notice how low the rain chances are. It doesn't go away to 0 really any day. But we don't really have a decent chance for rain during the daylight hours, at least until Sunday night and then into Monday. So there's our 3-day forecast again. Most of the rain the next 3 days will be tomorrow night and into Thursday. And you've seen the 7-day forecast. You know what we're going to do coming up in the next segment? We'll take a closer look at what we see after we talk with Payton. We're going to take a closer look at what we see as we head towards Thanksgiving. Quick look, though. You can probably guess coastal storm update. Boy, it's quiet. Look at just the wind gust forecast. We'll fly through a whole bunch of days because there's nothing to see. Anything that doesn't have color here through Thursday, that means gusts less than 30 miles per hour. This is a very quiet East Pacific. All right, that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Only Sunday evening, that weak front that crosses. Wow, that's it. That's kind of weird. That's strangely quiet for the month of November. And you can probably guess the wave heights are not too crazy high because of that. There have been some storms way out there, but this is like 800 miles offshore. See how that decays as it approaches the coastline. So the waves may go up. The swell may go a little higher on Thursday, but that's a lot of green, which is about 10-foot waves. So again, kind of quiet coming up. Okay, let's go back to Payton. When we come back to me, then I'll talk about what we see, kind of the big picture just beyond our 7-day forecast and how that affects travel.
Yeah, okay, it's my turn now, thanks.
That's all you.
Okay,
you
perfect. By the way, if you were just tuning in, this is our First Alert Weather Extra show. Every weekday, 7 p.m., we go into a little deeper dive in the forecast, and we always appreciate you tuning in. Here's our lows today, though. Obviously, if you woke up this morning on the way to work, you probably had to grab an extra layer out there. It was one of our coldest mornings, actually the coldest morning so far this season for many areas. 37 in Portland. Salem got to 32 for the first time this season, so that's kind of, I guess, something to celebrate. Our average low is 40 degrees for PDX. A little gander at our central and eastern Oregon lows. They're always a lot colder, 20s, 30s. That's where the cold stuff is if you miss it. By the way, Hillsboro, 33 degrees this morning. So if you count 32 as our frost, hasn't happened yet. So we are still taking second place for the latest first frost. If we get to 32, then hopefully we'll be able to not show you this graphic anymore. But still, it is definitely a really warm few weeks here when we look at those overnight lows. So I adjusted our temperature from normal. We were 4.5 degrees above average yesterday. I guess that's tacking on this through the 16th. When we tack on yesterday's cooler lows, 4.3 degrees. So we're getting lower, but still want to have that number much lower. 36 was our low on Monday, and that wasn't in the morning. That was actually really late at night, just before midnight. We got to 36 degrees. It got real cold real fast last night. And then 37 was the low this morning, and that was because the clouds kind of warmed us up a bit. But yeah, 40s for not, I guess that long of a stretch of 40s in November doesn't happen all that often. So tonight is another cold one. 36 for Portland, 34 Salem. We got 30s all up and down the coast, 20s, 30s Central Oregon, same with Eastern Oregon. And we mentioned that patchy frost and fog. I will say there's a freeze warning active for the Eastern Columbia River Gorge. We gave you the first alert about this yesterday, and it's all the way through about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So those lows may be down to about 29, 28 degrees, and we could see this be a killing freeze, but it's already late into the season. That's usually not too much of a concern. I mentioned this yesterday, but how does frost form? By the way, usually the air temperature is measured about 5 feet above the ground, about 1 Payton tall right there. And the ground is where it gets a little cooler. Cool air sinks, and that's why you see areas like grass or vegetation or your car, things that have a colder surface temperature tend to freeze first before the air freezes. Okay, so foggy season, it's arrived, and if you're curious as to why it's so foggy in the fall, it's because that's normal. Usually we have around 6 foggy days, October and November. Again, this is on average, and it's dense fog. We have a lot of mild fog mornings, but I think we could see some dense fog in some of the central valleys tomorrow. And maybe on the west side of the metro, we got a little east wind coming in tomorrow that could kick things up around, move things around a little more on the east side, but that also may not happen until the afternoon. Looking at our lows the rest of the week, as I mentioned, that 36 is tomorrow morning. We may see a cooler morning about a week from today, but we'll have a good middle ground of 40s the next several days. Cascades update, so we hinted earlier that there was a lot of snow at Timberline this time last year. In fact, nearly 4 feet of snow on the ground, 2024, November 18th. So again, yeah, 1 year ago today. Today, zilch, Zero. There's nothing out there, and obviously we're not super concerned. This is typically when we start to see snow events happen. Mid-November is kind of when we're opening the gates for possibilities, especially when it comes to bigger events, but we just haven't had that. It's been really quiet, and so we'll be more concerned if we get into December and we haven't seen any major snow. Oh, I forgot we're on the traffic computer, so I can't show cameras. Oops, my bad. Okay, Mount Hood conditions, 27 Timberline, Mount Hood Meadows, 28. It is cold. We just don't have moisture right now because we're in between wet systems. We won't see any snow really up to maybe midweek next week, and even then it's very up in the air. We just have had very warm systems coming through. I was looking at one of our AI models here. I mean, maybe an inch and a half at ski resorts 6,000 feet and above. So hate to break it to you, but our Mount Hood forecast is pretty boring. We just have 40s, maybe a couple days in the 30s again early next week when that colder air arrives. 0 to 3 inches over the next 7 days. So it's just not very snowy this time of year, I guess, for now. But hopefully, Mark, your ski pass will be used soon.
And, you know, some of our best snow years have had really slow starts, like an all of a sudden early December, mid-December, bang, there's feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah, and it could happen. I mean, nothing's out of the picture. Yeah,
and I know the ski areas, they would love to have things open up, you know, around Thanksgiving, but they don't really panic until we get to like that opening of Christmas break, holiday break. So. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the big picture here as we head towards Thanksgiving. This time of the year, we're kind of in our northwest winter now, more or less. Mid-November to mid-February is when we get our big four events. So let's take a look at those. We can see pretty clearly now through about Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So lowland snow, no, we don't see anything. You're not going to get a white Thanksgiving. It's happened maybe 3 times since I was born. It doesn't happen very often. Arctic blast, no. If you see anything on Facebook or, you know, TikTok, a big polar vortex is moving our way, that's not the case for now. Okay, windstorm, no, we don't see that through Black Friday. We just don't see any storms and no widespread flooding. It's going to be drier than average. Big picture, since this is a weather show, I took off all the annotations and I'll describe what you're seeing. This is the flow of air up around 18,000 feet. It's not really the jet stream, but we call it the jet stream on TV. It's pretty close, at least. So you can see the flow of air is about like this in the upper atmosphere. And notice there's kind of a hump here. We call it ridge of high pressure, so it's pretty dry tomorrow. Another system, that one I showed you offshore, is going to dive towards California, but this is splitting as well. This is tomorrow night, Thursday morning. And look how the main flow is up to our north Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now on Monday, a little wiggle is going to come through there. You see it right there? And then we get all the way through Wednesday, and there's still the main flow is up to our north. That's why we don't see any significant storms between now and next Wednesday. Now, each model gets a bit different after that point. So this is the day before Thanksgiving. Still good travel weather here. Will a little system come through, and this would be a little cooler system on Thanksgiving Day, and maybe another one following? We'll see. But here's kind of the wrap-up. We think for Thanksgiving weekend, as of now this is way out there at the end of what we can really see, you know, kind of the general view. We think the weather may be uneventful. So it's unlikely to be stormy at least through Black Friday, maybe all the way through the 4-day weekend. We sure don't see lowland snow. There's no cold air for that. Good roads for most areas coming up during that time. So in fact, we got to pull out we call it the twerking turkeys here, because this is First Alert Weather Extra. Somehow they got on the luggage conveyor. But regional travel through Tuesday, let's just say through Tuesday, which includes this upcoming weekend. Columbia Gorge and Coast Range, bare roads, I think. There goes a turkey. And then I-84, Blue Mountains, Idaho, can be messy. I once had relatives that turned around coming from Boise, and they said, we're not doing this, and they went back home for Thanksgiving. Mainly bare roads. There will be some snow showers with that system on Monday. Okay, and then another biggie, I-5 down to British Columbia, I-5 south to California or north to British Columbia. That can be a big issue through Siskiyou Summit. A few years ago, we had it kind of shut down during Thanksgiving week. I do not see snow over the Siskiyou Summit south of Ashland, or for that matter, deeper down into California. So I think we're probably okay through Tuesday. Oh, I know we're okay through Tuesday. If we get lucky, we're going to be okay all the way through Thursday as well. Okay, so that wraps up your First Alert Weather Extra. Peyton, I think we've covered everything in detail, which is what we strive to do here.
Of course. And you can find these on our website now, Mark, right?
I was just going to say, yeah, where? It's on the weather page, right?
Yep, and I think there's little tabs at the top of the screen, and there's one that says First Alert Weather Extra.
Over on the right, it's
there.
Yeah,
if you missed yesterday's, you can go watch that one.
And I believe it's also now live. It's somewhere, well, you can find it where you're watching the streaming here. I just saw an email go by I didn't reply to, but I think it may be on our app now as well, or it will be soon.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
All right. So thanks for joining us. We're going to go eat some dinner. Our next show on the Fox 12 streaming app here is going to be at 8 o'clock, our 8 o'clock show. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow, Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. for your next First Alert Weather Extra. Thanks for joining us.